I'm Stephanie Sandifer, and this is Stephanie Reeves, and I'm interviewing business owners today in downtown Fairhope. And Stephanie Reeves owns the Cat's Meow and the Dilly Dally in downtown Fairhope. She says across from the clock, but it's at the intersection of Fairhope Avenue and Section Street. And we are so excited to talk to her today, and she's a good friend of mine, so I might throw her some curveballs today. But
all right, curveballs are fine.
I have a list of questions that I wanted to ask you.
I'm good at dodging curveballs.
So we're just gonna kind of go through these, and we'll probably talk about some
Absolutely.
other things too. So
Sure.
okay.
We don't have a problem talking.
No, I know. So we were timing this today. So if you had to describe your business, how would you describe your business?
Gosh, we're a ladies' boutique. We do clothing, shoes, accessories, jewelry. We have a whole entire clearance room that's about 2,000 square feet.
It's a great room. I'd love to shop there.
Yeah, we have about 8,000 square feet. We've grown. We started with one location, and then we expanded into the adjacent store, and then we expanded into the adjacent store on the other side. So we kind of flanked each other with ourselves. So we just, we've been in business for 28 years. So we've just kind of grown and adapted as the town has changed.
It's definitely a destination.
And it's a store full of stuff, so don't think you're going to buzz in and buzz out, because there's tons of stuff. You could never probably see everything we have.
I always end up buying extra things when I go in there.
And that's good. We love that. I had a lady yesterday that said, oh, I can only buy one pair of shoes. And I said, oh, no, ma'am, it's Thursday. So we have a rule on Thursday that we don't keep anybody from purchasing more than one item. Right. So you can buy as many pairs of shoes as you want. She left with 3.
Oh, good.
So
good,
it was awesome.
So I know where you're originally from, but where are you originally from?
Originally from Chickasaw. Grew up in Chickasaw, which is a little town north of Mobile, across the bay. Went to high school over there, and when I was in college, I started dating a guy on this side of the bay and just fell in love with this little town. He was born and raised here, and really took to his parents, and he had a big family, which I had a really small family, so really took to his family and took to this area, and just grew to love Fairhope.
I love Fairhope too.
Yeah. That's why everybody moves to Fairhope, because they come here and visit.
Yes.
And we've made it so attractive and such a destination that it's such a community feel. Everybody wants to live here. So some people don't like that, but it just helps us to understand that it's just a great town, and everybody desires to be here.
It is.
So.
What made you decide to open your business?
The lady that I was working for in college, first of all, I was working at a department store. And I was also working for a lady that owned a business here in town, and the lady sold her business. And the new owner, and I got along fine, but the previous owner and I had become friends. And so when the new owner took over, it was just kind of different. And my boyfriend had been trying to encourage me all along to open my own business and kind of do my own thing. And I said, nah, I'm not so sure. So when the change happened, I thought, this is the perfect time for me to kind of go out on my own. And I didn't really do the exact same thing she did. I did kind of went a little different avenue. But, I just decided, might as well, if I'm going to work hard, I might as well work for myself.
Well, I've always wanted to ask you, where do you get your clothes? Because you have such a unique selection of clothes.
We hand pick everything we buy. I know there are buying services that you can contract with, and they'll pick out clothes if you live far away, or you can't go to market, or don't like to go to market. There are services that do that for you. But like I said, we've been in business for 28 years. I want to pick out everything that we carry in our store, because I want to control the quality. I want to control the price, obviously. I want people to get the best items they can for the best price, obviously. Plus, I want to buy what my customers want. There are things we carry in my store that I wouldn't wear. But I know we have customers that will wear them. And sometimes I'll try all of them on, whether I wear them or not, because I want to see how it feels, how it pulls, what the quality of the fabric is, how the shoes fit. So my sales reps for shoes always make fun of me because I wear a size 9, and samples are normally a 6 or 7, but I'm gonna cram my foot in that shoe, because if I wear a 9 and it's a 6 or 7 and it's remotely comfortable and cute, I'll buy it.
They don't have samples that are bigger sizes?
Very seldom.
did not know.
Very seldom. Most shoes are all size 6 or 7 samples.
I'm a size 9 too, so.
Yeah, so size 9 is a very, very popular size.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but you know, on two different sides you have Dilly Dally, and then you have the Cat's Meow. So the Cat's Meow, that's gauged more towards.
Cat's Meow is just a little more, they call it Missy, which people don't really understand that term. Missy is a term that means it's just a little bit more of a conservative style, not really for like an older customer, but you know, it's not tight fitting. It's usually loose and comfy. You know, like I said, a little more conservative, not quite so trendy that it's, you know, something that's gonna be a fad or a phase. And so, you know, years ago we had tried like junior clothes, but there really wasn't a market in Fairhope at the time for that, and so we abandoned that. And then, you know, just a few years ago, we decided, well, we need something in between, something that's not quite as conservative, but then we don't want mega like young, because we just don't have that customer. So we opened Dilly Dally, and we like to think of it as more contemporary. So the clothing is a little more trendy, edgy, you know, edgier styles, not cut as full, you know, just a little bit funkier maybe, just kind of to attract that, you know, 20 to 40 crowd,
Or
20 to 50,
Yeah.
50 crowd. Where, you know, the Cat's Meow stuff sometimes is a little more, I hate to say mature because that's not really the best word, but just a little more, like I said, conservative.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because I know I have a shirt that I bought that has grommets on it, and I went back and I have it in black, I have it in white, and I have it in blue.
yep. And sometimes, you know, we interchange. Like I'll order clothes from a Missy company, but it's a more contemporary fit or style, and we'll put it over and swap sides, or order something from a contemporary company, but it's a little looser fit, so we swap it and stick it over on the other side. It just kind of depends on when it comes in. I have the girls look at it and say, put it where you think it goes. Put it with whatever group you think it goes with, and they do a great job. So.
Well, I'm trying to throw you a curveball here, but
Okay.
you're doing a really good job. Let's see, what drives you to do what you do?
Gosh, you know, just being self-employed. You know, like I said, I decided if I was going to work hard, I needed to work for myself. But being self-employed has really given me the opportunity to be, you know, there with my kids, to be home with my kids, to have my kids in the store. I still have customers to this day that come in and say, "Oh, I remember when your son was in the store and he was a baby and you had a playpen behind the counter, and he would come up and look over the playpen, and you know, he's almost 21." So it's like that's cool to me, is that, you know, customers remember that. Or I go to market and I have sales rep at market that say, "Oh, I remember when you brought your daughter to market and I had her in a little carrier, and you know, I didn't want to leave her at home, so I took her to market with me and I strapped her in a little carrier and drug her all around the mart." And you know, my kids adapt well, and they're both really good shoppers. So I think
And you get to be with your mom.
and I get to be with my mom. My mom's been with me since right after I opened my business, after I had my child. And she was in the medical field. She worked in a hospital for years, and decided she worked at USA Women's and Children's, and worked with sick babies, and said,
When she told me that, I had no clue that's what she did.
said, I just did not like it. It just broke my heart every day to see those sick babies, and you know, the parents, and it just was so sad. And so we both worked in the mental health field for years, which is maybe why we're a little bit nutty.
Okay. I keep trying to throw you a curveball, but you just keep answering all these questions so
I know.
easily.
The news station, if they, you know, doing a story about Fairhope or whatever, they come to the store because, like, I've been in business for 28 years, and like I said, I worked in Fairhope for years before that, so I've been in this community, you know, active in youth football and all sorts of charities and different type things. So I mean, I don't know everything about Fairhope because there's so much to know about Fairhope, but I know a lot about Fairhope, and I know a lot of people. So anytime the news station has a question or a story, they always come to me for an interview. And I'm like,
That's good to
because
know.
they know I'll do it, and
Right.
they know I'll give them an honest answer.
Have you ever taken that Fairhope single tax class?
I haven't taken the long class.
I haven't taken the long class. I've just taken the short one.
Yeah, I've taken the short one. It's really interesting. We send people, you know, our store's located directly across from the museum. And sadly, like I said, being in Fairhope in business for 28 years, until my kids were a little bit older, probably maybe 10 and 4, 5, 6, I'd never been across the street to the museum, which I hate to even say, but the kids wanted to go over there. It's in the old city hall. Used to be the police department years ago. There's a jail cell in there. There's a fire truck. It's really a cool building. And Donnie Barrett, that used to be the director of the museum, was just a nut about Fairhope. And the man is a wealth of knowledge. So when the kids were young, I took them over to the museum. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating, all the different things about Fairhope that even locals don't know. So we send customers over there all the time.
I need to utilize that because during COVID it was closed and we always had people, downstairs.
Yeah.
When I'm on desk duty asking about it, and I'd say, well, they're closed right now.
Yeah,
So
and it's just,
that's good that they're back open.
I think they're closed on Monday, but they're open the rest of the week, and it's a really interesting little place. It tells about the single tax. It tells about the era of, years ago when Fairhope was founded, and they have, pictures from years ago. It's really a cool place. They have artifacts upstairs.
My parents like to go over there. They also like to go to the Marietta Johnson Museum also.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a cool place. It's kind of a melting pot for, people from all different walks of life and different career paths, and, it's a good problem to have a lot of people that want to live in this town.
What is something most people don't know about your business?
I guess probably most people don't know the origin of the name of my business, because for years we'd get phone calls, is this a cat store? Do you sell cat clothes? Which nobody would
Someone
logically.
asked you if you were.
Nobody would logically or should put clothing on their cat because their cat will probably kill them in their sleep. But we would get all those calls, and so probably that would be the most interesting thing that people go like, why did you name your business that? Well, my grandmother, who actually is the one that encouraged me to open my own business, loaned me a small amount of money to open my business. We were very close growing up, and she was from really, really small town in the country, like on the other side of Tuscaloosa. So she was kind of a country girl. And she would always say, when you're dressed up, like an old-timey phrase, when you're dressed up, well, aren't you just the cat's meow? And that would mean like you look snazzy, or you look, so adorable or whatever. So she would say that all the time. So every Sunday after church, my mom and I would go home and after church and let the dog out or whatever, and then we would go to my grandmother's for lunch, and sometimes we would still be in our church clothes. And we would go in, and the very first thing my grandmother would say when we'd walk in the door, well, you look so pretty today. Aren't you just the cat's meow?
That is so cute.
So when I tried to decide a name for the business, I couldn't really decide, and that was kind of something that my family used over the years, and I thought, well, that'd be kind of a fun name, because at the time I did have cats. I don't anymore. The 8,000 square feet of catty women is enough for me, so I don't want to own a cat at the moment. But that's a cool thing, and I think it kind of pays tribute to my grandmother, who believed in me enough to loan me a small amount of money, to open my business, and said, don't come back for another dime. Use it wisely. Come up with a business plan.
And look at you now.
And she made me really dig in and put some thought into it. So here we are 28 years later.
Well, you've done a great job.
Well, it's been hard work, but it's fun.
My next question, which has to go back to your employees, how do you motivate your employees?
Gosh, I think the most important thing to motivate employees is just make sure that they know when they do something good. Make sure they know that you appreciate them and that they're doing a good job, even if it's something minor like taking the trash out. Thank you for taking the trash out. And as a business owner, sometimes it's really hard to give up some control of your, to delegate responsibilities, because in your mind you want it done a certain way, and if you delegate that to someone, oftentimes they don't do it like you would have done it. So it's really hard to give up a little bit of control, but I think if you give employees a little bit of responsibility and let them kind of take the reins, and then are able to step back a little bit and realize that they're not going to do it like you would do it.
But they're doing a good job.
But nobody would do it like you would do it.
Right.
But they're doing a great job, and it's taking so much of a burden off of you. So like I have such a good staff right now. I have, Gwen in the shoe department, like literally, if it wasn't for Gwen, I think I probably would just like run away from home. She handles all of my filing, and she does a fabulous job with shoes. She helps me pick out shoes, and Great with customers. I mean,
love
she's
Gwen.
just a sweet, sweet soul, and I'm so fortunate to have her. Debbie is now doing our displays and doing the window decorating and, kind of doing some merchandising on the floor, and she's doing a fabulous job. Like I said, some of the things she puts on a mannequin, I walk in and I'm shocked sometimes, like, oh, I would have never thought to put that together, but it's really cute. I never would. So it's interesting
Right.
for me to see her different perspective on what she would put on a mannequin, because it's stuff, like I said, I wouldn't have put on the mannequin.
She's kind of artsy.
But she's kind of artsy, and she's worked in that area before, so she's really good at. It's taken a huge burden off me to have to maintain that. And then Susan, who is also great with customers, snazzy dresser. She's the Cat's Meow. Great with jewelry. She's in charge of jewelry, and she keeps the jewelry department straight and makes sure that there's jewelry on all the mannequins, and keeps everything sort of straight and handles the accessory kind of area. And it's so nice to have people in different areas that you can rely on, not so that it takes the burden off me, so that I can focus on other things. So I just try to let them know what a good job they're doing, and that I appreciate it, and that it's helping me a lot by taking some of that burden off.
So the next question I'm going to ask her, I know the answer to this, but I just want her to say, so outside of working, what would you say your hobbies or interests are?
Gosh,
Name 4.
Name 4.
Yeah.
I like to shop, which obviously it's part of what I do for my business, but I like to shop outside of my business. I love to spend time with my kids. I like to renovate houses.
Yes, that's where I was going with that.
I love to renovate property. I love the demolition process. It's very therapeutic, tearing things up, tearing things down, and building them back up and making them prettier than they were before.
You have such good taste.
It's something I've always enjoyed. Seeing, trying to fit that, square peg in a round hole. I have lots of friends that have done renovation projects, and they'll call and say, "Hey, could you come look at so and so? Because we're kind of at a dead end. We don't know what to do." And I have a friend that's a builder, and I like putting in my input, because sometimes a different perspective, brings a whole new set of ideas, and I don't know, I love it. I just love it.
If it wasn't for you, our house would not have gotten completed the way.
I don't know about that. Your house is beautiful. It turned out beautiful.
Thank you. But you really did help getting the finishing touches done.
I do love it. It's something I really do enjoy. So if COVID had totally shut our business down, I probably would have gone in that direction, because it's just something I really like.
Well, maybe you could do both.
I do.
Since you have such good employees.
I do. That's the thing. With COVID, we were so slow in the store. That I had such a good group of employees, I didn't want to let them go, and they needed income because they needed to be able to support themselves as well. So being shut down, I tried to, I kept the bare skeleton crew on staff, on payroll, so that I could, and then I had to divest myself and try to find other avenues of income, coming in. Although renovating, you end up spending money going out, but eventually you hope it. You're
back again, and I'm kind of switching gears now, because I want to get some more questions in for you with the time that we have left.
Okay.
So, in Fairhope, there's so many restaurants. So many restaurants. And we are so spoiled that we have such great restaurants. What is your favorite restaurant in downtown Fairhope?
That might be the curveball that you've thrown me. I don't know that I could pick a favorite restaurant in Fairhope. We're so lucky here, like we've talked about before. We're so lucky to have. So it's like a melting pot. People come here from all over the place, and so we've been so fortunate to have so many restaurateurs come here, and locals, people have moved here from other places and just fell in love with Fairhope and decided to grace us with their culinary expertise. And it's just, we have so many good restaurants. I don't know that I could pick a spot like Sunset Point, Panini Pete's Sunset Point. Great waterfront dining. Their cocktails are ridiculous. The food, of course, is the quality of the Pete's food that is just, great.
What about Sage?
Love Sage. They used to be my neighbors. She has the best sangria you have ever had.
We've had that. Remember that?
It's the red sangria, and it's
Too much of
divine.
it?
The food is delicious. The drinks are delicious. I have friends that love the mojito, say it's the best one they've ever had. I prefer the sangria. It's hard to get her to make the sangria out of season, so I fussed at her the other night when I went. Yeah, they don't have it right now unless I'm gonna send her a text today. But their food is delicious. Our bistro, great food. Great desserts. Their desserts.
They have really good bread.
They
also.
have fresh baked bread, jalapeno Gruyere,
Yes.
fresh baked bread that is just, oh my gosh, it'd make you want to like steal it and run down the street. I don't know. We're so lucky. There's just no shortage of good food here. I mean, we're on the coast. We have access to seafood. Texas Alabama Barbecue has great barbecue, and they smoke all their meat. Sometimes they run out.
Have you been in the new restaurant?
I have not been to the new restaurant. I know you've been and said it was really good.
It's just, we've been there 3 times, and I figured out what you have to do is just everybody pick one thing, and then everybody share it.
Right.
But it's really good, and it's always really, really hot.
I need to try that. I haven't yet. Master Joe's, like for sushi, he's such a freak about fish and it being fresh and tasting good, and he has all these fun, creative rolls. They have the Cat's Meow roll, mind you. Best sushi place around, and then he has the Asian food with the wok, and it's just really good Asian food. There's no shortage of good food, which is why during COVID, obviously, I need to start exercising more because I've eaten too much good food. At least the restaurants were able to open some during COVID and do carry out. So we did a lot of that during COVID.
We did as well.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other story.
Yes, it's a whole other story. Now I need to join and find a good local gym to join so we can exercise.
So this is really why I've started creating this page, because I think it's very important for people to know what goes into our community.
Right.
But what do you think is important? Why do you think it's important for people to shop local?
Downtown Fairhope is mostly, if not all, owned by private, by families, small family-owned businesses. Some are larger family-owned businesses, but, all local people, whether they're local from Fairhope or surrounding communities, but, they're local people who have chosen to have a business in this town to support their families. And those people give back. Our stores downtown give back to the community. We give back to the schools. We give back to the charities. So all the dollars that stay in a town, there are statistics. I don't have them right off the top of my head, but how much of your local dollar goes back into the community. So, I just think it's so important to shop local and support, local businesses, especially during times like this. I mean, our economy as a nation in general has taken a huge hit with coronavirus, and some businesses are struggling. Some businesses have closed because they couldn't afford to hang on, but the ones that are still around are really struggling to make ends meet, because people aren't going anywhere, so they don't need anything.
Right.
They're effectively non-essential, because you don't need cute clothes and cute shoes and cute jewelry. And
well, some people do.
Some people do, but a lot of people don't during this pandemic, and so it's been so hard to come back from that. And
I commend you for hanging in there, because
shopping local,
bounce back.
Yeah, shopping local is it's a huge thing to do to support your community, and I'm hoping once everybody starts getting vaccinated, and maybe by the first of the summer we'll be back in full swing, and it'll be we'll be able to spend time with our families and spend time with our friends and go out in public and not have to wear a mask and that type thing.
And we are still going to have Arts and Crafts Festival the last week
we
in
are,
April,
and it's going to be a lot smaller, smaller scale than we're used to, which might be good for to kind of get our feet wet with it again. But I think everybody's looking forward to it.
I'm excited.
I think people are stir crazy. They want to get out. They want to be outside. They want to see people and do activities, and they're just desperate to be out in the real world doing stuff, instead of confined in their home, not able to do anything or go anywhere.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know I'll be stopping by to see you.
I am too.
And really, I wanted everybody to know a little bit about Stephanie and a little bit about her store and shopping local. And she does have a Facebook page. Do you know what is the handle? Is it just The Cat's Meow.
It's a Cat's Meow.
Okay, I'm
We
gonna.
have an, we have
I'm
an
gonna
Insta, we have
post
Dilly
it.
Dally. We have a Dilly Dally on Instagram.
Okay. Well, after when I ended up editing this video, then I'll end up posting it on there.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
is there anything else you need to tell everybody? Would like to tell everybody?
No, I'd like to thank Stephanie for being my friend and,
Yes.
and asking me to do this interview. She's a great agent if you're looking for a house.
Thank
If you
you.
want to list it or sell it, call her because she's awesome and she knows the town and
Mhm.
you know she lives here and she built a house here and
Mhm.
and sells and lists properties constantly. So it's been fun and
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.